Elixir, longevity lifestyle designer. This is Zach here with secrets of longevityandhumans.com as well as martin-kilgour.com. And today I'm going to be preparing an elixir here, an androgenic testosterone building and boosting elixir. It's just a small amount. It's got 3 cups of liquid to start because it's closer to the end of the day. I've already had a full-size elixir and some other food during the day, so this is just something to give me an extra boost for the rest of the evening. And we're starting with about a cup and a half of tea and then a cup and a half of spring water, so that's 3 cups total. And in the tea I had a wide variety of herbs. I'm not even going to go into them because it's a whole whackload of various ones that don't really make sense in terms of their combinations. I just grabbed a bunch of stuff out of the cupboard today and made a tea up this morning. But some of the key ones I put in there are horny goatweed and other yang jing and yin jing tonics. So it's got a nice balance to it. There's a bit of cinnamon in there, when actually cinnamon is a phytoandrogenic food. So the first thing I always do with my elixirs is I start with some of the coarsest stuff that I want to blend up, and then I add the powders after I've blended it once. You've seen me do that in other videos. So I'm going to start with just 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seeds, and that's to get a nice amount of zinc in there. And actually, interestingly, I was just reading up on pumpkin seeds, and pumpkin seeds are actually a complete protein, according to nutritiondata.com. If you look up the amino acid profile of pumpkin seeds, it's complete. It's even a complete protein can be known as a higher quality protein, depending on the score they give it. I'm not sure exactly what that means when it has all the amino acids. I guess it's how well those amino acids work with the body. But yeah, pumpkin seeds, I guess perhaps because they're green, they have chlorophyll in them, and chlorophyll-containing substances or parts of plants usually have complete protein, such as the leaves of plants are usually complete protein. That's not always the case, but that's often the case. So, sort of the mainstay of the drink I'm making is pine nuts, and I just picked these up today. They're in a cornstarch package, that's why it's so crinkly. But I've been reading up on pine a lot, like pine pollen, the pine tree in general. But pine nuts have testosterone, the hormone itself, in them. So they're definitely an androgenic food. It's going to be very building to that hormone. And I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of them in. So that's like half this little package here. They are a pricier seed or nut because often the processing of them is quite laborious in terms of extracting them from pine cones of the specific trees that they get from. Next thing I'm going to put in just to start here is 2 tablespoons of bee pollen. And it is also phytoandrogenic. It's got steroidal type compounds, and you know, it's the seminal portion of the plant. So basically, if you take the seminal portion of the plant, you're going to have phytoandrogens. And if you take the womb or the female parts of plants, you're going to end up with more phytoestrogens in what you're putting into your meal. That's not always the case. For example, one other thing I'll put in here later is mucuna. And although it's a seed, a bean, it contains L-dopa, which is very building to dopamine, and that in turn increases testosterone. So it's actually a phytoandrogen, but it's a seed. So now that we have all these basic ingredients in here, I'm going to blend it up to make sure that's all coarsely mixed in there before I add the powders in, which then I'll mix again to preserve the amount of time that some of the more fragile constituents and components and superfoods that I'm going to be adding in don't get blended for too long. So that's the first blend, and we're going to add the rest of the ingredients now. First things first, I'm going to sweeten it with stevia because I'm on a no sugar thing. Actually, I start Monday. I'm doing no sugar for 6 months, so I'm basically pretty much on no sugar already. I've just been winding it down. I'm eating like 1 piece of fruit a day. That's 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do 5 dropperfuls of stevia extract. The other thing I'm going to add is a drop of peppermint oil. This is really strong stuff. In the last video I made of an elixir, I put red mandarin oil. There's different essential oils. If there's something that you can consume internally as a plant, and that in terms of that portion of the plant, then you can also consume them internally as an oil if it's a high quality oil. And you also don't want to do the same oil for too long, over a long period of time. And if you're unsure, just don't use the oil. Obviously the ones that are spices, you know, are edible, like cinnamon, peppermint, clove. These are all oils we can take internally as a spice, as opposed to using the ground herb if you're wanting a change of pace in that regard. So of course the next thing I'm going to add is cacao powder. And I don't want to be up too late, so I'm just going to add 2 tablespoons. Some people might think that's actually quite a bit, but... Then, because I also want this to be a very building drink, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of maca. Just the straight powder. If I can even get this bag open. There we go. Of course, I'm going to add a pinch of shilajit, which is an androgenic food. It's very stimulating to the libido. And also about another ½ teaspoon of... Oh, sorry, that was ashwagandha. The first one I did was ashwagandha. This one's shilajit. So both of these are stimulating to the libido, and specifically ashwagandha has been shown in clinical studies to raise testosterone levels over the period of, what was it, 3 months. Men who are supplementing with ashwagandha had a 40% increase in testosterone levels. So it's very powerful for that. Then of course we've got mucuna, my favorite herb at the moment. Increases human growth hormone in the body. L-dopamine makes you feel good. Synergizes really well with cacao. You gotta get on it. And then 1 tablespoon of mesquite. Mesquite is great to combine with nuts and seeds, especially if the seeds or nuts aren't complete protein. It's very high in lysine, which is generally the amino acid that is lacking in the nuts and seeds that are lacking in that. So if you get that in with the nuts and seeds, your body's going to have the complete amino acid profile, which it always needs it in that complete spectrum, because a lot of amino acids work in conjunction with each other, and lysine happens to be one in particular that's great for helping the rest of the amino acids. In fact, it's perhaps, in my opinion, the most important, because it has a function in helping the other amino acids be absorbed and work with properly. So then I'm also going to add 1 egg, just for the factor that eggs can add to a drink. Frost it up, makes it taste good in my opinion. Good caloric source as well, and protein. And of course the cholesterol is great for building hormones, specifically DHEA, testosterone, and all these androgenic hormones that we need more of because we're so estrogen dominant in this society. So I'll do one more final blend before tasting it. So yeah, just so people know, I often don't blend it on the high speed on the second go, especially if there's an egg in there, because you don't want to oxidize the cholesterol, you don't want to oxidize the protein and some of the other factors that might happen to. So the pine nuts have a pretty unique flavor that not everyone's used to, and they find it a bit, well, piney. Kind of tastes like a pine tree. Has that essential oil of pine in it, actually. And a lot of people use pine nuts in things like making raw cheeses. If you combine it with turmeric and blend it with some other things, I don't know, I never make that. But it's it kind of tastes like cheese in some weird non-cheesy way, but it's kind of faux cheese. So that's something you could look into if you're interested in that. That's another way to get them in. The Hippocrates Health Institute has a lot of recipes that they make that include pine nuts, and they switched to pine nuts a number of years ago when they stopped using cashews, because cashews do have a toxin in them, and that is pretty common knowledge now, but a lot of people still use cashews, but they don't really know the facts, so that's your choice if you want to be putting toxins into yourself. So another thing about the Hippocrates Health Institute is that the pine nuts in their diet could be offsetting the phytoestrogens in some of the sprouted beans that they make. Now they don't serve the soy, the black beans. They do serve some flax seeds, which are very high in estrogens. You don't want to be consuming flax seeds anymore, so take it off your menu. Never touch them again. Is that too controversial to say? I don't know. Anyways, the black beans and soy are definitely up there. Flaxseed is 3 times higher than soy in estrogen. So you want to eliminate the big, massive quantities of phytoestrogens, because we're also getting doses of xenoestrogens from everywhere. And so by consuming little to no phytoestrogens and taking in phytoandrogens and pro-testosterone type foods and herbs, we can help balance out that ratio. Over time, I wouldn't go so heavy on phytoandrogens all the time, especially because if you have a balanced body, you don't need to be taking a large amount of something. But this is just something we need to do while we're bringing our endocrine systems back into balance. After childhood, I've been giving a lot of processed foods that contain soy. Soy has been used in infant formulas, and you look on the label and it always says soybean oil or soybean this, soy that. It's everywhere. It kind of sucks. So yeah, that's my drink. I'm going to taste it. It's good.